All right, today we are diving into one of the most famous and honestly influential speeches in all of human history. And I want you to forget what you think you know about a quiet, dusty sermon. This thing is a revolutionary ethical manifesto delivered on a mountainside that basically turned the world's values completely upside down.
So, to really get our heads around it, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. We'll start with the setting, then we'll dive into its totally upside-down value system. After that, we'll get to the central thesis about the law, see how it plays out in the real world, and then wrap up with its seriously radical conclusion. Let's jump in.
So where does a speech like this even happen? You know, the setting itself is pretty simple, but it's also incredibly symbolic.
Yeah, there's no giant stadium, no light show, no special effects. It's just a teacher on a hill talking to a crowd of his followers. And right there, he starts laying out what is essentially the Constitution, the core principles for a totally different way of living, what he calls the kingdom of heaven.
And get this, he doesn't start with a list of rules and regulations, he starts with a list of blessings. But the kinds of people he calls blessed, well, they are not who you would expect at all.
Okay, so this is where the world really gets flipped on its head. The speech just completely inverts what we normally think of as success. The blessed are the poor in spirit, not the proud and powerful. They're the ones who mourn, not the ones who are always on top. It's the meek, the merciful, the peacemakers. It's a value system that champions humility and deep compassion over raw power and social status. So after he lays out the character of this new kingdom, the teacher gives his followers their mission. He tells them to be salt, a preservative that adds flavor and stops things from going bad, and to be light, something you can't just hide away. It's meant to light up everything around it. It's this call to action to be a positive, transformative influence on the whole world.
And all of this leads right into the absolute core argument of the entire speech. This is where the speaker makes it really clear how he sees his relationship with all the laws and traditions that came before him.
And here it is. This is the crucial point. He's saying, look, I'm not here to tear everything down, to cancel the moral law you already know. I'm here to take it to its ultimate conclusion, to show you what it was really about all along. This one sentence just sets the stage for everything that comes next.
So the difference is pretty clear, right? It's not about canceling the rules. It's more like upgrading them. The whole focus shifts from just, not doing bad things to actually cultivating a good heart. It's about getting at the why behind the rules. And with that, man, he sets an unbelievably high bar. He points to the Pharisees, and these guys were famous for being the most detail-oriented, meticulous rule followers around. And he says that even their level of rule-keeping isn't enough. Just checking off boxes won't cut it anymore. What's required is this deeper, more authentic kind of goodness that goes way beyond just outward appearances.
Okay, so how does this new, higher standard actually work in practice? Well, the speaker then gives a whole series of really powerful, super practical examples.
And he uses this brilliant pattern over and over again. He'll say, "You have heard that it was said," and he'll quote a well-known law, and then he'll follow it up with, "But I tell you," and he deepens it, pushing his listeners to look right past the letter of the law to its true spirit. So let's take murder. The old standard is pretty straightforward, right? Don't kill somebody. But the new standard goes straight to the root of the problem. He says that the anger and contempt you hold in your heart, that's part of the exact same destructive impulse. He's targeting the source, not just the final terrible symptom. And he does the exact same thing with adultery. The old law forbids the physical act. The new standard says, hold on, the moral problem actually starts way earlier, with the lustful thought, with the intention inside your heart. Suddenly morality becomes an internal affair.
And then there's this one, which must have been a real shocker. He redefines justice. The old standard, an eye for an eye, was actually designed to limit revenge, to keep it proportional. But the new standard? It's to not even resist an evil person, but to overwhelm them with this radical, totally unexpected generosity, like turning the other cheek or going the extra mile.
So all of this has been building, one idea on top of another, to the final and most challenging teaching in the entire sermon. This is where this new ethic hits its absolute peak.
This is the final frontier of this new morality. It moves beyond family, beyond your tribe, beyond your own nation. The call is to extend love and real goodwill, even to the people who are trying to harm you. It just completely dismantles the whole us versus them way of thinking.
And why? What's the reason? Well, the text gives one.
Basically, anyone can love their friends. That's easy, it's natural. But to be truly righteous, you have to act like the sun that shines and the rain that falls on everyone, the good and the evil, with no distinction. It's about a universal, unconditional goodwill.
The speech ends with this absolutely staggering command, a call to be perfect. It seems completely impossible, right? And it sets up this profound, lasting question about what's even being asked of us here.
So, if there's one crucial takeaway, it's this radical shift from our external actions to our internal intentions. It's like a blueprint for a morality based not just on what you do, but on who you are becoming on the inside. And it leaves all of us with a really challenging thought. In a world that so often rewards anger and division, what does this ancient call for inner perfection and even love for our enemies, what does that truly demand of us now?